I think we're good. All right. Hello there. Hello there, everyone. How are you doing? It's a little bit delayed. That I am well aware of it. Things have been quite interesting, to say the very least. But don't worry, we're here in a fun, I guess, double feature. I have here is another guest host again. Who are you again?
Guys, this is UberClay. I'm filling in for Doc, and we've got some exciting stuff to talk about this evening.
Absolutely, that we do. Just like our wonderful channel sponsor, Aho Patrick's. Again, you can use coupon code /AGCast for 10% off your first patch. As I said before, that was going to change at some point. It's going to be 10% off the first patch of the order, not the entire order anymore now. So sadly that has changed, but if you're going to get one patch, it's still 10% off. That being said, though, let us start today with July 1st, and then we'll go to August. So July was a little bit away, but let's go with the betas of July. We can go through this a little quickly.
Sure. Okay, so we only had two betas launch in July. The first one was the Cyber Ruger Guillotine by Tommy Hicks, and what that is it's a kind of a derivative of the Recession Ruger, but it is designed in the format of the cyberpunk guillotine. I don't know if I sent you a kind of a picture of one of his builds, but one of the things I think makes it especially interesting is it has the magazine is actually reversed, so it angles forward. But it's a really slick little build, P89, presumably. But he's got some folding brace and folding stock options for it, and it's a pretty slick little number.
No, yeah, I remember it. A lot of people got mad at me because I said the guillotine looks like a Destiny gun. No, it's quite literally a cyberpunk gun. Silly me. I haven't finished the game fully. But yeah, no, that's what I remember. This one was a fun little one where, yeah, it's like a reverse, not Glock mag thing, which is really cool. I like that a lot. I mean, it's the Recession Ruger. It's just, when you look at it, it gives you have to take a couple of seconds to look at it. Then you realize, oh, I see what's going on here.
Yeah, they've been doing a ton of work to it too. I'm in there. I mean, I don't have a lot of time to participate, but I've been kind of watching its progress, and they've been really nailing everything down. It's been exciting to watch. I really think this is going to be a really fun, or not is, but or not will, but is going to be a really fun little shooter. And it just kind of shows the inherent creativity of some of the things that you can do with that platform.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a Recession Ruger. That's a little bit fun. A lot more. Actually, I think it looks pretty clean. I do like it a lot. But yeah, I'm not really sure, I guess, what else we could really say to this. Aside from, it's a fun little Recession Ruger, fun little remix. Not that NotThatTommyHicks he's a dev that's been there for a while, so it's in good hands.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's very talented. And it's a very, very talented project. All right, so the other beta that we have, and I don't know a lot about it, but it's the 3021 Glock, which I believe is a Glock 30 with a Glock 21 magazine. So it's kind of a full size magwell with a shorter size slide. I have some Glock. I have some Glocks, but I don't have a Glock 30. So I kind of took a look at it before our before our meetup today, at least the files, and that's it looks like that's what they're doing, is putting a full size mag in a compact slide frame. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just had to do a quick little Google search because believe it or not, I am not the biggest Glock fanboy that I'm able to instantly just know off the top of my head which Glock is which. I know the Glock 17 because it holds 17 rounds, because that's exactly what it's for. But the Glock 30 is the 45 ACP subcompact, so I'm guessing that's like maybe like the Glock 43, where it's a slimmer slide, I'm guessing.
I'm only speculating if I agree with you. I don't know, because I don't, like I say, I don't have one, but that's what it looked like to me. It was like a subcompact or a compact with a full size magazine. So
yeah, it looks. I mean, it's 45, so I'm guessing it's going to be a different type of Yeah, maybe the slide's going to be bigger, probably. So the barrel's going to be different. But yeah, I mean, Glocks are Glocks. But yeah, the Glock 21 is the one that I'm more aware of. That's the fun 45 one. I wonder, that's like, I think you can get the Chris Vector magazines. Yep, yeah, okay, I'm looking at it right now. You can get the cool Chris Vector magazines for that. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I I always forget Glock makes it a 45 too. It's just always, I'm just so used to Glock 19s and 17s, and then whatever
Right.
the fun, goofy ones are, 43X, 43, 23. Each of them are all fun, joyous things. But
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. That's, I'm like you. I'm more familiar with some of the standards that are the older, I guess you could say older standards. But it seems like every year there's more and more mid-size sub variants. Some that are designed to have higher capacities but easier to be concealed. So this. I don't know if I would go so far to say this is a meme gun, but it's definitely it's definitely cool to have a subcompact with a high capacity magazine.
well, I mean, what I could see it is like 40, or I'm thinking, I'm guessing the 30 is going to be like a 43X, where it's just the
Right.
same. It's still like, it shoots 40 or 45, but it's a slimmer like design, which is just going to like, I doubt you're going to get yourself a shield arms X for the 45 cal version. I highly doubt that. I don't think
Right.
there's enough demand for it. So this, I think, is probably really nice for those people that do have a 30 and just want to use the more common, I'm guessing, 23 or 21 mags, because yeah,
Right.
that's the one that Chris Vector uses, so it's also a Glock mag. I mean, if I just pull up ahead real quick, what is a warehouse? Yeah, okay. Glock 21 mags are about what I imagine for Glock mags to be, about, like $22 for just a normal like 13 round like stock mag for that. And then this Chris Vector mag's $60, which is pretty nice. Like,
Right.
so like that I can easily see. Yeah, I'd probably, that's like a nice little frame to have if you already have a 30, I guess. Like, maybe a more fun range to, and hell, to be honest, yeah, it'd be kind of, I'm not sure how much heft it will add to it, but it'd be pretty nice to see, I guess. I could see this being an interesting design. I just have no interest in having a Glock in 45. I like to have, if I'm gonna get a 45, I'm just gonna get a 1911.
Yeah. The dev behind that, I don't know how to say his name, but it's spelled S3KTOR. So
Skeletor, yeah.
yeah, Skeletor. I hope I'm saying that right, but he's had some other stuff that
Remember,
he's devved with, and
yeah, I think he did a night vision one as well at some point, like
uh-huh.
a DIY night vision.
Right. So I'm looking forward to see how that progresses.
Yeah,
um July was pretty big for releases, though. There was like a little bit of a I guess you call it a log jam in the catalog release pipeline, and we kind of got some of that stuff moving. So the release list is relatively large. I don't know if you wanted to talk about some of that.
let's
Um,
let's go through the releases, but let's go relatively quickly, just because
sure. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
there's a lot of them, and yeah, we don't need this to be a couple hours long. And plus, most of these were betas, so we do have a lot of the
Yep.
information out there. I guess let's start with the first one.
The Venturi was a DIY printable suppressor that released in July. It's the first one in a minute. There's some other ones out there, but that one's worth mentioning. It was one of the first catalog releases in probably about a year for printable suppressors. Then we had the Nutty Nine, which was notable for sure. It is basically an FGC9 that uses, and I think we talked about this as it was being in beta, that uses a nut and a bolt or it uses a stack of nuts for a bolt. So in other words, you don't have to, you can DIY your own bolt without welding,
Yeah, I was
and
actually gonna. I can
super
mention that.
slick.
I'll mention that one just a little bit, just because I'm currently building one myself. It
Oh,
is.
sweet.
It is one of those. Yeah, it's basically an FGC9. It's very similar, and you can already kind of like, just looking at it, you can almost just like see. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit easier. I'm looking forward to drilling out. Right, I just need to get a couple of the nuts and bolts, pretty much, but I've got most of the prints out already done. I remember like there's a couple things with the firing pin that's changed a bit, and then yeah, just being able to just have a weldless, a good. This is probably the best weldless bolt catch I've seen. It's just very
Nice.
simple. Uses the geometry of the bolt carrier itself of the nut, basically that hexagonal like bolt face. That is a fantastic already bolt catch, and it's not going to break off like most of the weldless options do. So in that regard,
Right.
I mean, my position on this will be if you're going to build an FGC 9 in current year, you basically have a couple options. I think the Partisan 9 is already released. That's a better version of it, but takes a lot more work, a little bit more. There's some more welding to that one. The 99 is the hey, I just want to do something relatively easy and quick. The 99 is makes the FGC 9, which is already a simpler design, even easier to do. And
Right.
I personally just don't see a real reason to make a FGC 9 Mark II anymore, unless you kind of like the nostalgia part of it. But really, the 99 I think is just a better design option now, and Partisan 9 would be more if you're willing to take that extra step.
Right. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the 99 is fantastic, and that bolt, that bolt concept is fantastic. I think that, I think there's a mod to put it in the Uratu or whatever. And I think we're going to see that design come up more and more in the DIY future, you know?
We'll have a little more time to talk about that one soon, but I guess yeah, we could go to the next one.
So there was the Recession Ruger R2 that also released in July. What that is that is kind of a an overhaul of my original Recession Ruger that Unseen Killer did, and I collaborated with him on it some, but he did he basically went through and we he mainly criticized a lot of the some of the unnecessary artifacts that were there from when we had or when I had combined the frames and done some of my original work. Keep in mind too that when I originally did the Recession Ruger, I was very 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 young in the CAD game, so I was doing the best I could, but there wasn't a lot of resources out there, so it is fantastic. If you like the Recession Ruger, you are going to love the R2. It is a whole level up from where the original Recession Ruger was. Now it doesn't support the 45. That is there is a model out there that's going to do the same thing for the 45, but it's not released yet. This will support though your P85, your P89, and your P90. And if you've got a P91 or something that is a 40, it'll support that too. But it's got a really killer brace stock system. The whole thing's just beautiful. So check it out if you like the Recession Ruger. It's on the catalog. The next one we can talk about is the Hornet. That's one of my releases. That was a DB9 from Diamondback Firearms. It is the smallest 9mm, one of the smallest 9mm you can get, and it is striker fired. It is very unpleasant to shoot, but it is literally a pocket pistol 9mm, and it was challenging because the recoil forces are very violent, and it had a bad habit of breaking frames. But we finally, conquered that issue. And if you follow the instructions and print it in its preferred print orientation, you should be fine. I have one I've shot, I don't know, 500 rounds in or something, a lot, and I don't have any cracks. So,
Yeah,
um,
I would say that those type of ones are. There's a reason why a lot of those pocket pistols are usually in 30 or is it 380.
yeah,
I mean 9mm. Yeah, great. You get your 9mm. That's nice and everything, but also like yeah, that there's just because you can make a pocket pistol 9mm doesn't mean you want to shoot with the pocket pistol 9mm.
right. I mean, we did a lot of work, and I did a lot of ergo work trying to get it to where it didn't give you nerve damage when you shot it, but it is still very unpleasant, you know. But it's
It's a
sacrifice
last
for the
ditch weapon,
size.
right? It's like a last
Yeah.
ditch. You don't. It's the best gun that you can carry is the one that you actually do carry, and it's a smaller gun
Hmm.
that you should be able to conceal a lot easier. But God forbid you actually have to use it.
Yeah. We have the main release supports generations 1 through 3, and then I had one tester that was able to get a Gen 4, and they did some significant upgrades to the design in the Gen 4. And I wasn't gonna. I mean, they're not. I'll be honest with you. The kits you see on Gunbroker are mainly the one generation 1 through 3. I wasn't gonna go scour the earth for a Gen 4 kit, so he did a remix, and I included it in the release. So there's a Gen 4 frame. And then I did a couple of meme frames in there. One, we did a Maru frame that is, instead of saying horny or hornet on the side, it says horny. I did that for Doc. And
Color me
then we
shocked
did
surprised.
What's that?
I said color me shocked and surprised.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I think that I don't know if it's the picture on the thumbnail on Odyssey. It might be, or maybe it's the one on the front of the guide, but he posted it, where it says like prostitute approved or something. It's really funny. And then I did a long cat version. They have a 15 round or something ridiculous extended magazine for that, which is like so unnecessary. And there's a ton of them out there. I'll be honest with you though. I mean, the frame is great. It fits the mag. The mags are garbage. I could never get my mag to feed properly. I mean, it's horrible. But I put it in there with a disclaimer. It said, man, this frame fits this mag. This mag fits this gun. I can't get the mags don't want to feed. So, if you want to try to do something with it, it's in there. But it was kind of and I mean, that mag cost me $50 too. I was so pissed, and I sat there and tinkered with the feed lips and everything. I mean, they're not cheap, but anyways, that's just a kind of an LOL. But for a very highly concealable 9mm, you're not going to beat that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, thank goodness you're here to describe it, because I know nothing but the DB. So yeah.
Right. Another one. I got another release out that month in July, which was the Geister pistol. The Geister pistol is the Steyr M9 or M40 A1. I also have a frame in there for the compact, because I was able to get a compact kit with a full size. It has a full size mag wheel though, so those are fun. And if you can find the parts, it's a great shooter. It's Glock's competition in Austria, so it's like the other Austrian pistol, and honestly, they're better. They're hard to find as far as they're not as prevalent. They have a unique hexagon sight arrangement, which makes them kind of fun to shoot. But and they're smooth, really high bore axis ratio. Your hand sits basically right underneath the slide, so the grip angles your hand backwards quite a bit more than most.
Huh.
So, anyways, that's if you can find parts, that's a fun one. It has a FCU, so basically, the FCU mounts in the frame, and only recently did they start requiring the FCU to be serialized. So the lower that they quote unquote considered the lower is more like the grip module to a SIG, if that makes any sense. The
Yeah.
grip module, they would serialize the grip module, but not the FCU. The FCU is really what is got the rails built into it and everything. So, they recently I've seen with the newest iteration of those Steyrs that they're now serializing the FCU and treating it like the way the SIGs are, but the older ones not so much. So I was able to buy 3 kits, and all 3 of them had FCUs. So, and I've actually got a prototype FCU thing to make FCUs, because I was anticipating that with the serialized FCU, you would see more kits come out that didn't have it, but that hasn't really happened yet. So maybe in time it will. But I was going to get one of these sintering outfits to make me maybe some FCUs for some kits that we could put back together. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet.
I mean, I've seen a couple videos of it. I haven't been able to shoot, but I do want to try out the funny little, I think like blitz sights or whatever they're called again.
Yeah, they're like these
triangle
hexagon sights.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like a triangle, almost like a little bit like a chevron. It's not a gutter sight, not a gutter sight, but it's like
Right.
it's something unique where it's like It's sort of like kind of like it's just supposed to fall in the weird thing. It's hard to describe. Maybe I can pull up a picture of it to show up there, but like, yeah, it's definitely unique. It's definitely a gun I want to try out at some point. But all right, so let's go on to the next one.
Yeah, so I think the last July release is a favorite of mine. It's the Hitchhiker. It's a that 22 kind of backpack gun. That's a single shot, but I think it's a single shot open bolt,
Right, it's like a
which
gun designed
which is
by a
kind of
lawyer.
cool. So it is a gun designed by a lawyer. That's right, and it's embroiled in some interesting controversy at the moment. But it's a good shooter. It's a good gun, and there's no don't want to discourage anybody from making it. It's it's brilliant. So I think it makes for a really cheap, really inexpensive DIY build. That's a lot of fun to shoot. So
Yeah, no, I see
uh,
it too. It looks like a lot of fun. I actually had the opportunity to be able to play with it too. It's a fun little goofy thing. Of course, it's or I think MAF has their own parts good for it too.
mhm.
I think my promo code is this is not a coupon code or this is not a promo code. One or the other. But yeah, no, it's a nice little thing. Be careful, of course, though. Whenever if you want to do your own remix and with the pictures you use inside of the README, but it is it's definitely an interesting design, and I think it's about to get a lot more interesting. And depending on how that
Yeah,
story goes, perhaps we may cover it here too. Who knows? Because it it
I have a feeling we will.
I have
I
a
have a
feeling we
feeling
will
we will.
too. It is, and let's just say it's a design made by a lawyer, and as everything comes out more and more with it, it becomes a more and more interesting design to me.
I agree. I agree.
But yes, for all essential purposes, it's basically a very simple single shot 22 that's an open bolt. I believe it ejects the round or like a self ejecting round, so that's pretty
Hmm.
convenient. You're not gonna have to do the old pipe shotgun, rotate it around or get a screwdriver. It kind of just pops out
Right.
on its own. So that's a nice little thing. But all right, let's just go on to August now then.
Sure. So we had three betas launch in August. The first one by seven was it sevenperforce? It's called the Chuckle Button. Okay, and so this is pretty ingenious. The Chuckle Button. It is an FRT, but it's an FRT for a Glock. And so the best I can understand it, it looks like it uses the natural tilt of the feed ramp in the cycling of the action to with a printable addition to the trigger to do the reset. So as the slide comes back and the barrel tilts downward, the feed ramp pushes the trigger or this printable addition to the trigger pushes it backwards and resets it. So then the slide will close and you're already reset, and you can basically upon the round going into battery, you can it allows you to fire the pistol a lot faster than you normally would,
Single
just like
shot per
any
trigger
other.
pull. Yeah.
Yes, single shot per trigger pull. However, it assists you in pulling the trigger a little bit faster than you might have been able to normally. So
And
a
of
lot of fun
course,
there.
yeah, and of course, this is 3D printed, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing how many people are going to try to sell CNC versions of this one. Don't buy it if they do, but hey, that seems to be a common thing with a lot of these ones. I guess,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not a super safety, but it's its own little unique thing. I feel like it's been weird how people have been. I mean, I like the super safety idea as a concept, but like, yeah, it seems like a lot of people just started selling machine ones.
yeah, and listen, I'm kind of obey your local laws, but you have to understand that there are a lot of people, in law enforcement and even the ATF that they're gonna their primary assumption is going to be that is not an FRT until they find out different. So you just need to act accordingly, be smart about it. If you go to a range, you go somewhere and you're flaunting an FRT, don't be surprised you get some pushback. Otherwise, have at it. But you just got to be smart these days.
Well, what's the other guy who does a lot of other super safety stuff and also just selective, also just machine guns? But I think it's like Sergu S3
Uh
something.
huh.
Yeah, because
Yep.
I noticed like he was talking about how his like super safety design stuff like it's meant to be 3D printed. I
Right.
never once has this been attempted for like CNC stuff. In fact, the 3D printed
No.
version is it's made specifically with 3D printing in mind. Of certain 3D or PLA can do certain things like bend that helps out a
Well,
little bit, but
let's talk about that for a second because I know exactly what you're talking about. So that is the slip trip. That was never designed to be printed out or to be made out of metal. That was designed to be made out of PLA. The problem with making it out of metal is you have just introduced a whole bunch more mass into the action of your gun than what was ever intended, and it is actually has the there is it has the probability of messing damaging your weapon or damaging your gun because you've got this large piece of metal mass that's moving around inside your action that it was never designed to be. It was designed to have the mass of PLA. And so, some people were thinking they're being smart by making that, getting one of those centered and having it made out of metal. And it's actually very, very, suboptimal. And, if you have one, you should not use it. And you have a chance of ruining your gun.
well, yeah. I guess let's go back a little bit to the Glock FRT one. So I'm guessing this is like a trigger shoe
Sure.
type of a thing, right?
It's a what?
So this is more like a trigger thing, less than like you're not.
Yes.
It's not like a switch to the back or anything. Like
No, it's not. It's an extension of the trigger that interacts with the tilting of the barrel in the feed ramp position,
and
so that it pushes your trigger back into reset early.
and do we know like will this work for almost pretty much anything that takes a normal Glock trigger shoe, or is this going to be like Glock 17, 19? I think the 23 is slightly different, but pretty much mostly the same.
Yeah, that is a great question. I do not know the answer to that. I do know that I think that for predominant purposes, it works for all of your standard Glock models.
Okay, so I'm guessing like the 17, the 19, pretty much.
Right.
Everything else, probably should, but it's if it's like just the trigger shoe, you'd imagine it should, but I'm assuming, yeah, maybe you're weirder. Like the Glock 22, I think that's the 20. Is it the 20? Is the Glock 20G? The Glock 22 actually a Glock 22 LR, or is that?
I think I want to say it's 40. Is that maybe 40? I don't know. I have to
Well,
look that
whichever
up.
one's the 22 LR one, because I think that one has a little bit different system, but I'm not 100% certain. Ah, either way, I guess we could double check that.
It's a 44 is what you're thinking of is the 22
Ah, well,
LR.
that's the one I was thinking of, the LR one. Yeah, I think that one's a
Yeah.
little bit different, but I guess for most intents purposes, this should work for your typical Glock models. I guess let's talking about FRTs though. I guess let's go to the next one.
Yeah. So yeah, FRTs, man, they're so hot right now. Remnant has got a Mac FRT. This is not a traditional Mac. It is the like Mac Daddy or basically the Mac with the AR fire control group that's mounted behind the upper. But they have an FRT that they're doing a beta with. So again, one shot per trigger pull, but the cycling of the bolt is what helps you to reset the trigger early. And from some of the videos I've seen in the beta room, it looks pretty fun.
Okay, so a big thing is all right. So it's not like the Pepper Jack because that's an actual machine gun, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Pepperjack is an open bolt conversion that is absolutely get your dog shot material. So
and
just
this we're just saying this one's gonna work. This one's for a Mac Daddy more or less. So not actually,
yes,
so not like a Mac, not like an actual Mac frame. So people will like Masterpiece Arms stuff. It will not work with that. It's only gonna work for basically a typical. I'm guessing like maybe like the DB Alloy Mac
yes,
Daddy type of stuff.
yes, or like the mac and cheese probably. I don't know what they've tested it on, but yeah, any of those Mac frames that utilize the AR fire control group, I would think would be able to use it. Maybe with some modification depending on outlier models, but I think definitely what I've seen in the beta room is a lot of Mac Daddy applications, but um, they're basically a similar concept as the super safety. So they're resetting the trigger early with the cycling of the bolt, and that allows you faster follow up shot.
Well, to avoid going down that rabbit hole, I believe the super safety technically activates the safety first, because this was more or less designed for FRT to get rid of their cease and desist letter.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. Yeah.
technically,
What were we calling it? There's like another name that we were calling it too. That wasn't the super safety or the FRT, but it was like maybe it was CBT or something. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
there's if I'm calling it an FRT, guys, it's only just from a colloquial standpoint, not a
Oh yeah, no.
technical standpoint. You know,
It's
and,
such a rabbit hole, especially when it's like we kind of have an idea of what they do. We kind of have an idea of what they do. It helps you. It resets the trigger faster, I guess, if we want to. If that's is that the
right.
proper way? I don't know. Someone's gonna crucify us in the comments, who's obviously gonna be more intelligent about this than we are, and then they'll be able to correct us, and maybe I might pin that comment. How about that?
Yeah, I just tell people it helps assist you in pulling the trigger faster than you would be on your own. So it's just like um, an assisted trigger pull where you don't have to release the trigger to reset it. I mean, you do, but it pushes it forward. So I don't know how you want to classify that.
Yeah, I'm sure someone is going to yell at us in the comments. So I'm looking forward to that. Please give us that wonderful, wonderful engagement. But
Yeah.
let's go to the next one.
Okay, so the last beta for August was Eastern Import's Logical Conclusion. That is a really cool printed carry comp. It's small, it's fast, easily printed, and it's a cool little addition to your carry pistol if it's got a threaded barrel.
No, wait a second. You're telling me a carry comp. So, like, okay, I got one that was made out of aluminum, which is pretty cheap. I guess one nice thing about comps and like those like aluminum comps are they don't really change too much of the cycling. They're not too heavy. But
Right.
I will always mention this is always shoot your comp first with your carry gun because it will usually change some things with the cycling. Like I know for my PSA dagger when I first got it, it would jam whenever I had the comp on it. Yeah, I think it took a couple
Oh,
rounds to break in. It actually like it took about that was like literally just when I got it though. Like this is just out of the box, no lube, no nothing. Just took it out, immediately threaded on a carry comp on it, and like it would jam like at least every round for the first 50, and then kind of after like I think I took it off after like the 10th round of it jamming, and then I just shot an entire box through it, and then put it on again, and then never had that issue. But the point is whenever you add things to your carry gun, at least try it a couple of times before to see how it works. It does change a little
oh,
bit with things with it. But I'm curious on
yeah.
how the printed one would work, though.
Yeah, that's great advice. I haven't tried this, so I don't know. I was just looking at it, in preparation for this, and it looks really cool. When what was it when Rice Cutter had his common Daru or whatever, I ran some of those just as a flash can. But this is cool. It's got a little comp vent, carved in the top of it. So I imagine it's probably pretty fun.
So,
You know.
well, the thing with a lot of those carry guns is think about it like this: is their carry guns are always they're always going to be a little more snappier. So whenever
Right.
you add a comp to it, the air, you're pushing some air upwards, you're pushing the gases upwards, which should, in theory, make it or make the gun not rise as much. So in
Yep.
theory, you get a flatter shooting gun. The other thing you can also do is put a flashlight on it, so now you have a counterweight basically hanging off the top, which makes it a little bit harder to go up. So like
Right.
stuff like that, and that in theory you should just have a flatter shooting gun, but it's not necessary. It's not like don't expect it to be a night and day difference, but it does help a little bit. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't.
Right.
I'm curious to see how this one goes because I have a couple smaller guns that I could just throw some things on. It's always a nice thing to have, especially whenever you have like printed or compensators are pretty cool. The ones that are like the really good ones are the bigger like tanker ones. I have one
Right.
of those on my Mac Daddy, and
Oh.
that thing shoots so flat because it's just it's such an insane you would never ever use this. Like it no longer becomes practical, and it just like it just makes it way more louder, way more brighter. But gosh darn it, does it shoot flat? It is,
That's awesome.
but like you lose a lot of practicality with it. It's definitely every time I try to film it with my phone on the side, the gases will knock my phone over. So like yeah, it's that's another thing to keep in mind is carry comps will make it louder, make it brighter, and yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind. But I'm curious on seeing this one, how it goes. It should be a fun little thing to try out. And again, a nice thing about them are, with the printed stuff like this, is super cheap, really easy to try out, and it is what it is. It's worth a shot, giving it a chance.
Yeah, I like little betas like that where it doesn't require a ton of parts to buy, and it's relatively quick and easy, just to throw one on the printer.
Yeah,
So
if you got a PSA dagger, you got the threaded barrel option. Why not give it a shot?
perfect. Yeah, that's absolutely a perfect application.
But I guess let's go on to our next one, or is that all the betas?
Yeah, I think so. That's all the August betas. We had some August releases that we can talk about. A couple of really cool ones. So the first one that we can talk about is the Cox cheap universal monocular. Um, Guys, this thing is really really cool. You should, if you haven't checked this release pack out, you should download it and look at it. It's worth having, at least on your hard drive. Originally was using night vision cameras, but here recently I've seen 2 or 3 people using thermal cameras with it and coming up with using this all the same, basically the same files, the same build guide, and just using a thermal camera instead of a night vision camera. And that shit is pretty badass for like a couple $100, man. It's very very hard to touch something with this type of capability with that at that price point. Let's put it that way. So
Thermal's not
they're
actual night vision.
true, true, true.
You're gonna
However,
bleed.
yes, yes, yes. There, there's probably, if I had to choose between one or the other, I like thermal, but you're right. There is, it was originally designed for night vision, and there's lots of great links and resources in there to get drone cameras and different things like that to put in it, and it's brilliant. So and there's mods in there to do straight up goggles or whatever. It is originally just so you could make something to do surveys, and you could survey the tree line in the middle of the night or whatever, and it's very cool though, very very cool.
I mean, night vision's always one of those fun things where it is just cool to be able to try out. Thermal vision, I guess, is slightly different, but allow me to be completely honest with you guys. It's not my cup of tea. I don't really know too much about that whole scene.
Right.
What I do know is these cameras are great. The only difference is yes, in a technical, hits the fan moment where you got actual death squads coming in with their nods. Yes, technically you'll be bleeding out light and IR signature, and that would give away your position. But let's be real about this. You're not going to be in that situation. If you are, you should probably prepare accordingly. You're going to be using this to maybe check the tree line in your farm area or just play around the city. Which, in that case, keep in mind, most cameras will be able to notice that IR signature. That's kind of something security cams will be able to probably tell. But, aside from that, it's just a fun little thing to do. It's a fun little project. I mean, heck, if I was a kid, I always remember those old, terrible night vision stuff, which is basically like this. That stuff was always cool. It's playing around, walking around at nighttime. I have a Quest 2, and that is IR.
Oh, nice.
It's really nice. It's I can play in absolute pitch black darkness and then have a couple of those IR security lights around, and I can just see everything perfectly at night. It's fun, but it's definitely something fun to try out. I'm glad to see. Yeah, how much you say it costs? About $100 to build and everything.
Well, so the most recent posts that caught my attention were the thermal ones. The thermal ones are like 200. So I'm pretty sure your night vision's not even going to be is going to be half or less of that. So I don't know what the total build cost would be as far as the night vision is concerned, but I bet it's I bet it's very, very affordable.
Yeah.
And, for the, that just, and like you say, we're not professional, we're not professional soldiers and trying to do raids with it, but, being able to, see what's going on without necessarily, turn on a floodlight is valuable.
I would say so. It's just a fun little thing to try out. But yeah, no, I mean,
Mm.
I think it's cool. It's a cool little project. And if you guys had the time, I'd recommend giving it a shot.
Then we had the NS3 system, which also released early August. That was Ivan's foldable stock. As in, I'd never. I mean, I don't have a plastic off. I think originally he had kind of come up with it for the plastic off, but I put it on a few different things that I own, and it's very, very cool. I bought a, it's a $19 parts kit or something from MAF, and it's got a pretty slick little locking mechanism. And is very stout, which is, in our community, a lot of the brace / stock options, they can be a little bit anemic, and it doesn't mean they don't work, but you drop it wrong, you're probably going to break it. This thing for not having any metal in it, other than the screws and the spring, is pretty robust, I gotta say, and it's can put up with some use. So, I would, if you haven't checked that one out, that's a good one to check out. It looks really cool too, especially on a plastic off. But you know, I
No,
don't know if you've seen that firsthand or not, but it's pretty slick.
no, I think I think I remember seeing Ivan post about it. I'll need to look at another screenshot of it. But what I remember was, yeah, it looked a lot more heftier. Which, I mean, some of the brace / stock options, yeah, you kind of are right about them being a little anemic. Of like, they might not be necessarily, like, yeah, this one might be a stock, but it's still like, might as well be just a brace at that point. Of like, it's just a blade. It's not
Right.
comfortable or great to shoot. It's like, yeah, it's something, all right, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
you saved me some time and money of buying an AR2, like an A2 buffer, like one from PSA, but yeah, it's not enjoyable. But I guess this will do, right? That, knowing Ivan stuff, it's probably going to be, yeah, it's probably great. And that was always my problem with a lot. I think maybe that might be a reason why it's a little bit strong, because it has some like screws and other things to it. Some of the other ones, I guess, are kind of meant to be like just quick, one and done. Hey, I have something on it, type of a thing.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, he put a lot of work into it, and structurally, it's very solid.
I'm
Very
gonna give it a
solid.
shot. And plus, yeah, I'll probably try that out. Actually, there's a couple of things I want to put a stock on. Is there a
Hmm.
brace option on it too, or is it just stock?
There is a brace option. I put the couple things that I put it on. I added that and was actually using the brace option. So yeah, it's they're both represented in the release. Should be anyways. It was in the beta.
I have to put.
So
I'll give that maybe a shot for my DBL and maybe print the brace option. All right, I guess
and then
let's go for the
yeah,
last
we
one.
have I saved kind of the best for last is the Ratu. And I probably most of our listeners know what that is. But that released the end of August, and it's a bullpup DIY
I
nine
have one.
millimeter. Yeah, it's so cool,
I'll
so
talk about that one
cool.
a little because I actually built one. It's
Yes,
okay. So it's a joy. It's a joy to build. I'll just say that. So I will not say that. So it's parts of it are easier than an FGC9. Parts of it are not. It has a lot more. I feel like it has a little bit more hardware to it, which can kind of be a pain to like source everything on its own. So like a screw kit's not a bad idea. Like it has just a lot more things to it, but like drilling the firing pin hole, it uses a much smaller like square steel, which is pretty nice. But like, it's, yeah, when you drill the FGC9 firing pin, it is a lot of distance. I think it's like 50 millimeters or something, or no, yeah, probably like 50 millimeters. Or I forgot what it was. It's a lot bigger, And if you just have a little bit of tilt in your hand with a hand drill, congratulations, that firing pin channel's off, and it's not going to work.
Oh man.
And if I had a nickel for how many times that happened, yeah, I'd have a lot of nickels. I always tell people, if you were to buy the seal, buy a bunch of it, because you will mess it up. If you have a drill press, congratulations. Not everyone does. And also remember,
Right.
cut in. It's one thing of being able to drill straight. It's another thing to be able to cut steel straight. So if you got a hacksaw, good luck trying to cut that thing perfectly straight or flat. It's not gonna be perfectly flat. You could try to take an angle grinder to it and or like a belt sander. That might help, but let's just be real about it. If you're doing this in your apartment complex like I was, you're not gonna have that. You're gonna try to eyeball what you think is flat, and that's, if you have a drill press and you're pressing it against the thing flat, and it's not actually flat. It's just at a little bit degree angle. Guess what? That firing pin hole is still gonna be off. So
Right.
that Uratao, like that firing pin channel, so much easier. The firing pin itself is also a lot better as well. It only can go a certain distance out, which I think is a better design for that regard. But like, if you want a simpler design, I wouldn't call it simpler, but I think it's easier to build as a normal person, because it's also not, you don't have to weld it. It uses a very similar option, kind of to the Mark II's weldless, but a little bit different, where you drill a hole and put like a big pin through it, and congratulations, now you have a weldless design option. It's very simple to do. You can do it very drunk. I can tell you, if a drunk man can do it, anyone can do it. Is all I have to say. It's not too hard.
Right.
And
Nice.
the one thing that happened with me though while shooting it was, now I think what happened was the springs I was using were a little too long, so it didn't allow it to go fully. The bolt didn't go as far back as it needed to, and I also didn't sand the bolt, because the bolt can kind of slide out if the seal's too smooth, so you want it to be a little rough. Kind of just you want to screw up the bolt just enough so it's not like polished and the JB Well can get a better hold. One thing that happened for me was my bolt carrier did break on me, the printed bolt carrier, and something that was kind of unique, I was talking to the developer about it myself, was it was basically out of battery, but there was a little bit of a safety mechanism in it where when it's kind of out of battery, the trigger just won't work. Right. So like, I was trying to shoot it and the bolt wasn't fully in battery, and I just couldn't get it to fire. And that was kind of by design, which I thought was kind of neat in that regard of like, that's an extra safety mechanism that's like yeah, I guess like that's one of those smaller things that you kind of design out for that you don't really want to use, but like, hey, that it's actually kind of cool that it worked as intended. I could have had it out of battery because of how I didn't follow the instructions properly. But
yeah, that's actually really cool, man.
But
there's a lot of.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, yeah, it was something with the way, if only I could have Parrot here to describe how it worked exactly, but essentially the trigger mechanism has a little bit of an out of battery protection in that regard, where like, yeah, the trigger was just kind of jamming up on me, and it just wouldn't fire. And that's what we figured out was, that's why it's not firing.
Right. Well, an out of battery can be catastrophic, so anything can be done as a safety measure against that is a very nice feature, and with a bullpup, your face is relatively close to the breech, or closer anyways.
So what I'll say is this, like, yeah, you could tell with that design a lot of love went into it, a lot of design, like a lot of care went into it. It's definitely a design that it took a while, but I think it was well done. I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with it, because I think like right now where it stands with it is, I remember kind of talked to the Parrot boy about it too. It's like, there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. Like, put like a cool, you could probably put an extractor on it too. I think it uses basically the FGC 9 like style barrel blank if you wanted to, but they were also looking to AR9 barrels, because you can get an AR9 16-inch barrel. I think those are better than your typical like 16-inch Glock barrels. Yeah, so sure. I think there is a design for that. And if you can get an AR-16 or AR9 style like barrel on there, you can, in that case, you almost set head spacing, and then you can probably put an extractor on there and have a much more reliable design. in that regard of having an extractor, like an actual one, is pretty nice. But
Right.
as of right now, it works great. The trigger is shockingly better than you would imagine for a bullpup. Like I've shot a bunch of bullpups. I will say it doesn't have a wall, but it kind of like you can kind of guess where it is. It's not bad. It's I would say it's definitely different. Better than a QBZ9 or 95. Way better than that. Would I say it's better than a Tovor? It's probably around that area.
Right.
It's a bullpup, so it's not the best thing in the world, but it's pretty much it's better than most I've dealt with.
I was really impressed with their documentation too. They really went the extra mile with the documents. I was one of the ones that I think I was the first person that reviewed that entire package, and it took them. It was a lot, but they really went in detail in the guide, and top notch, first class set of docs. I can't stress that enough. They did a very good job, really spelling out every step.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. Now the only downside is now that I have my issue with mine, I just need to. Now I just have to file off the JB weld to reattach it to the new bolt carrier that I had to print out, and I'll give that a shot, and it should be fine. I mean, yeah, it works a lot better than I expected in that it's a bullpup and it's a fully DIY bullpup. To be honest, it works a lot better than I expected. Like a fully DIY bullpup, you have a plastic trigger bar, a plastic hammer, there is no regulated parts on there. That is insane to me.
Right. It's DIY, baby. It's cool.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to just seeing how much I can beat that thing down. My guess is that disconnector or the hammer might kind of start to chip away a bit as time progresses. But I want to see how many rounds I can get through that thing without having to replace anything. Because I'm just really more impressed by that whole, basically a little bit of the out of battery protection on there, just because I didn't read the README fully, so I didn't actually file this away. So it's a good thing you had that there because I didn't fully follow the instructions. And the fact that it works so well, despite me not fully following the instructions, is kind of amazing to me in that regard. I like that a lot. That's one of those things where, for a new-time builder, first-time builder who's a little bit worried about, what if the gun explodes on me? That's a little bit of peace of mind, I would say.
Right.
But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it takes a lot to jump in and tackle a build like that. I mean, that is not a. I mean, if it ends up being your someone's first build, that's very challenging. I would say you might want to pick something else something else first. But like I said, the instructions are very, very, very precise and very clearly written. So you could follow it and you would be okay. But
I'd say personally, if you think it's cool and you want to make that your first design, I'd say there's enough there for you where I would say go ahead and try it. Just understand it'll be a little bit harder. Yeah, you won't have as much resources with it as you probably do with an FGC9 because ultimately this is still a newer design out there.
Right.
But for me, that whole out of battery protection is oh, okay. So if I were an idiot and I really did mess up worse, well then okay. It still wouldn't hurt me that much because there was extra thought that went to that type of stuff. And then, it's easier to drill the bolt. The bolt I think is easier than the FGC9. A cool thing about it is it has the weight forward, which is similar to you can find that in the AKV. A couple other designs out there. There's a couple Soviet guns, which basically the way that would work is it just shoots a lot flatter because all the weight mass is above the barrel, above the gun, in front of the gun, so it kind of just keeps it flatter. It shoots really nice for again a bullpup, a fully What really is amazing about it's a fully DIY bullpup.
It's insane, man. It's really cool.
But if you want something a little more challenging. And, that's something, it's got good documentation. I'd recommend giving it a shot. But
how do we convince Parrot to start using Glock mags?
I think you just have to do it. I think someone just has to do it. It'd be funny. It'd be a lot more funny. I had to print the CZ Scorpion mags because I was just oh, yeah, that's right. I can't just go to the store and buy a CZ Scorpion mag because it's not a Glock. Darn it. But
I get it, but I still gonna make fun of him. You know,
aesthetically, it is more pleasing. I'll give him that. But also, it's like,
right.
come on, Dad. This would have been so much easier.
Yeah, I know. That's my American bias, I guess, coming out. But you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. But oh well. I guess with that, we're under an hour, which is good. That's good. In that case, this will be
yeah,
easier. But all right, I guess for right now, we'll try to get September out soon as well. That is things are starting to calm down a little bit, so hopefully things should be back to normal a bit. Other fun things too to keep in mind, I guess, is you know it's an interesting time, I would say, for 3D printed gun stuff right now, or 3D
yes,
printed firearm stuff. Things
yes,
are getting more and more interesting. Elections are coming up soon too. Some people are writing pieces. Sometimes one of these days, who never knows when I'll be technically sort of have at some point. But
yeah. There's a lot of saber rattling, and there always is. So you just got to keep on keeping on. Tell your friends. The more people that we can get engaged, the better off we are.
yeah,
So
and a lot of things are just things are getting more interesting. I would say too. If the suppressor stuff is getting more and more. It's getting more and more. I don't know the right way to describe it, but things are getting like more advanced with 3D printed suppressors. I feel.
oh yes,
And
yes,
it's just like at some point now, I wouldn't even. I'm close to just getting myself a Form 1, PLA boiler.
yes.
But oh, with that aside, keep us under an hour right now. But thanks a lot, UberClay. We'll see if Doctor Death or we'll have you to be another guest host again.
Yep.
But
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I love doing this, and I'll see you guys out in the chat.
yeah, and I'll see you guys soon too. It was a pleasure talking
All
to you
right.
guys, and hopefully we'll see you guys again. All right, and I'm gonna press stop.